This is Colin McGuigan for IFLTV. Edward, I actually really appreciate you coming over to see me. Obviously, lonely in New York, and you just dropped me a message and said, "Oh, I realize you're alone. I'll come over and see you."
Why did you message me before? A couple of things. Is there something new on WhatsApp? Because I don't save your number in my phone as anything. Like, not even something abusive. Just don't even save it, right? And you messaged me going, "I can't believe you don't save my number." And I'm like, how do you know that?
Because everyone knows, so it's not just me. So I remember before, I think I was with someone, they were like,
does something show now on WhatsApp that says I don't?
So when your photo doesn't show,
Right. Oh,
people know you haven't saved their number, so it's
Right.
quite rude to people that you're messaging. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you randomly message me first a few times.
Never randomly.
Yes, you have.
I've never had your number, mate. I don't know.
Okay. Do you want me to get up the message?
Okay. Literally, yeah. I don't.
So what you must do is just go onto WhatsApp, search Column, and then you've went in a message. Like you did message me. I'll actually tell you when you did.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, you text
So you know
me.
it's right.
You text me going, "I can't believe you don't save my number." And I'm like, I had to like sort of style it out. I went, "Oh, don't save anyone's number, mate." And I just wondered how you knew that. Anyway, that's the first thing. Secondly, I'm in New York, got meetings for the next couple of days. I didn't actually really tell anyone that I was coming to New York. Not that it was a secret, but it was a bit of a last minute trip to have meetings. And you messaged me going, "I've heard you're in New York," or you're coming to New York. And I'm like, literally like a handful of people know. So I need to you need to tell me how
Do you want to know the actual truth?
Or I need to go through those individual people that did know and interrogate them as to why the fuck Colin McGuigan, was that your last name?
So I've actually been talking to a girl who works here that I met the last time that you were here, and she was like, "Oh, your friend's back this weekend," and I said, "My friend," and then she said Eddie Hearn, and then I messaged.
Liar.
Not liar.
You swear?
The girl you were just speaking to, they asked for the hair product that you forgot at the front desk.
Are you serious? No, you're not. Because that's a big client confidentiality
actually,
breach.
It is a big breach.
Are you being serious?
You're going to have to speak to the hotel about that. Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it?
You're not. You don't. You're winding me up. Who told you?
No, I'm telling you, the girl on the desk.
Lies. Anyway.
So what are you actually here for in New York? That's the first question.
None of your business. So I'm here. We have a big partnership that we are signing / filming for today, which I can't tell you about because it won't come out until that's cut up and edited. It won't be long. About a week, Links? Something like that. Yeah, about a week. Then there's quite a few people from Saudi here as well. Other, let's just say, quite big fights that are being discussed. So yeah, just here till early next week, and then I'll be heading to Riyadh.
I'm also heading from Riyadh. Are we going together? When are you going?
What has it got to do with you? What is wrong? Like, I've noticed. Do you know I get a lot of criticism? People going, "Oh yeah, he's arrogant." Like, you guys, you Parsons, every time now you ask me a question, you finish my question with, "Yeah, because I'm doing that." So, or I do that, or what? You know, I'm going to Riyadh. Yeah, I'm going Riyadh. So I don't care. Two, I would expect you to be going to Riyadh. So anyway, we could fly from New York to Riyadh together.
I think it's a work ethic thing where I just want to work hard and some others want to go and leisure around and go to cities.
Last night, I flew into New York. I got to the hotel at about 6 o'clock. The first thing I did was actually went to Stretched. I don't know if you've been to Stretched, but in New York particularly, they have these places. They've launched in London now as well. They're called Stretched or Stretch Lab. And you go in and someone will stretch you out. Because my
Pause.
No, not your dirty things you go to. But like they stretch you out, a physio, and get you like, because my body's all over the place. Anyway, did that. Then had meetings all night. Went to bed about 1 o'clock in the morning, right? Which is like 6, 7 a.m. in the morning on the other time zone where I came from. Then woke up at 6 a.m. and took my ass to Central Park for a run. Yeah, came back, had breakfast, meetings for 2 hours. Now you, and then on till 5 o'clock tonight, and then a big dinner meeting tonight. Probably won't finish till 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't ever talk to me about work ethic. I mean it, because I am untouchable when it comes to work ethic. And I'll tell you something else now. Do you know what I was thinking about when I was running around Central Park? And you know me, most of the time I don't like to big myself up. I was thinking, I'm not even going to mention their name, right? But I saw someone at Central Park this morning, and I thought to myself, oh my God, it's X, right? Now, it wasn't X. And then I thought back to X and thought, where did they go? And what it was just another member of the boxing industry who was flying high, who was a bigwig, who spent a long period of time slagging me off, trying to end me, trying to stop my development into America. And now they've evaporated. They've disappeared. So all of these people that pop up and we have this beef, understand one thing. Consistency over time wins. I've been at the top of the game for 15 years. See these others, they come in, big, and then they just disappear.
Who are you talking about?
It doesn't matter. There's about 5 or 6 of them that I could be talking about, but this person I just saw him and went, oh my God, it's so-and-so. And then it wasn't, and then it just made me think, but no one mentions it. You know, like all the beef over the years. Oh, look at Eddie. He's this, he's that. Oh, he'll never crack it in America. They've gone. They're out of work. And I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? But I never get the credibility. For 15 years, I've been on top of the game. Didn't come in, didn't go out, didn't get a TV deal, lose a TV deal, go into the wilderness, leave boxing, come out, lose fight, like whatever. So anyway, that was to make me feel good on my run. Now we've done about 5 minutes of this interview, and the comments are going to be going.
Speaking of work ethic and top of the game, Ben Shalom has obviously announced he's got a massive deal with the BBC. Just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's great for boxing. I mean, look, I know everyone's saying they're not paying a license fee, and which is true, but like, not every show has to be a big show. We actually received a tender because the BBC is obviously publicly funded. They put a tender out to do the production of the deal. I was actually going to go for it because I thought it'd be quite amusing, but it's 4 shows a year. That's what it said in the public tender. So it's a good start. Like, I think people will always try and, maybe people think I do it, but belittle someone when they lose something mega like the Sky deal and a big rights fees and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the BBC is a good platform. Now, just because the money doesn't exist from the BBC doesn't mean that you can't try and manoeuvre it or bring in some commercial partners. So I think it's a good deal. I mean, there have been a lot of people that have done shows on BBC before. Dennis Hobson, Chris Sanagar, stuff like that. And I think to have the BBC involved is great for boxing. So,
when you say there's not big money involved, what do you mean?
I mean, no money really. I mean, it's just, the BBC. One of terrestrial broadcast is great for the sport. But the problem is they don't pay any money. So it's very difficult in the industry and the world that we live in, especially at the moment with Riyadh season, to pay the fighters the contractual money or the money they want without having significant rights fees. So, but from a sport level, it's really good because, it'll do decent numbers, it's good profile, and anytime a new broadcaster comes into the sport, it's great for it. So I think, yeah, I think if you're a fighter, it's like, great, yeah, good numbers. I want the max. What am I getting? Is my contract being honoured? How often am I fighting? So I don't know if there's another deal to come, but the tender document said 4 shows a year, and that's a solid start. I think you got to respect it. Obviously, the Sky deal is a significant deal in terms of rights fees, but all in all, I think it's good for boxing.
From what I believe, there's going to be a separate pay-per-view deal. Where do you think that lands, and who do you think the pay-per-view stars are now in boxing?
Well, there's no pay-per-view stars yet, but in time, who knows? And I think that pay-per-view, anybody can do pay-per-view. I mean, you could. Oh, was going to say you, but that's a bit silly. But someone with any ability could just pop up and promote a fight and get it on pay-per-view. You could go individually now to Sky Sports and do it on pay-per-view. You could probably go to DAZN and do a pay-per-view fight. So there'll always be the opportunity to do pay-per-view events, but you need pay-per-view fighters. So,
people maybe say Adam Azim, Ben Whittaker. A lot of people have now said that they might be leaving Boxer. There's talks of Whittaker signing with Matchroom. Any truth to any of that?
No, I think that obviously it's a small world. There's a lot of fighters at Boxer that have apparently been trying to leave or want to leave, but I don't know. I don't really know a lot. I mean, for me, they've got a lot of good fighters, and if they become contractually available, yes, of course, we would open those conversations with them. Yeah, but so's everybody else. So I know.
Do you see a world where those type of fighters stay at Boxer and fight on the BBC? It's a massive platform with arguably probably the biggest eyes on the sport will be through BBC. Would that be correct?
Yeah, but it's a money game. And if you can't make the big fights, if you can't pay the money, you're off. But I don't know. Maybe they've got some investment. Maybe, I don't know. But you're going to have to go some to keep the fighters. But I think, I think there's a few fighters that, if available, we'd be extremely interested in. But we don't have conversations with people that are under contract. If the opportunity becomes available, we will be making significant financial plays for those fighters. But so will everybody else. Do you know what I mean? It's not just we're just one of the world's promotional companies. There's many others that will also be making plays. So it doesn't mean we're going to get them, but we would certainly move very aggressively in a global space, because I'm not interested just, I want to build global stars. I want to see people fight and headline in the UK. I want to see them on massive cards in America, in Saudi Arabia, around the world. So, yeah, we'll see.
From your understanding, and obviously you're a good person to ask us, I would have no idea, is there all of these fighters contractually with Boxer or through Sky, do you believe?
No, honestly, I don't know. I hear they signed with Sky. I hear that if Boxer aren't exclusive with Sky, then the deals are up. And the truth is, I don't really know. And it's not really my business. But, probably, and just debating it like we were having a chat in the pub, probably contractually they can go. But now the job is to sell them the dream of the BBC and say, no, this is, you're going to have big viewership, this and that. But the reality is, and I've learned so much over the years, it's a money game. It's prize fighting. And you need someone that can definitely pave the right path for you, but you need to pay the bills, secure your future, and leave the sport with as much money as possible. So, I don't know. Maybe you can convince the fighters that this is the right path for them. Good luck. If so, we all crack on and, But of course, you hear people looking to leave, and obviously I hear it as well. But the truth is, we just don't know.
Do you believe it is a good move, in your opinion?
To go to the BBC? Yeah. Look, if you can't get a significant rights fee deal, then the next best alternative is.
Are you suggesting there's no rights fee then in this?
But I don't know. There probably is something small, but it will be tiny in comparison to the Sky deal. Tiny. And the Zones deal and stuff like that. But, I don't know. All I know is the document that got sent out to tender was saying the deal was 4 shows a year. So you're going to need, but not every show has to be massive. Like, not every show has to be a stack undercard, and you can make really good, and actually, when I look at, I'll give you an example. George Liddard against Kieran Conway, right? British and Commonwealth Championship. It's actually at the York Hall. And we could have sold 3,500, sold out at the York already. That's a really good fight. Now, that's not a 10,000 stadium fight. So I just think that sometimes you need quality domestic boxing. So I think they can do good shows on Boxer. And yeah, I think it's a good move. financially it's going to be difficult, but again, great eyeballs and good for boxing. But the profile and another, it just shows you that people always say boxing's dead, no one's really interested. Always there's a broadcaster that wants to come in. You know, DAZN, Sky, Channel 5, BBC now, Netflix. You know, so I think boxing's in a great place.
In terms of you and everything that's gone on, you've said you're here to make fights. Is there any news on potential US fights?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's been an interesting period talking to potential opponents for Jaron Ennis. I mean, that's an announcement that's imminent. I think we've got, there's a lot of talk about, why don't you fight Mertzalive, who's fighting Erickson Lubin? Why don't you fight Vergil Ortiz? We agreed to take that fight in Saudi Arabia. He wasn't ready. Then they said to do it in November. At the end of the day, Boots wants to have a fight at 154. He's been at 147 for, virtually his whole career. He wants to move up and have a real solid, good fight, and then he will fight absolutely anyone. Jaron Ennis, in his deal with us, his extension, part of his deal is he has signed to fight Vergil Ortiz. And when we sat in the office with Golden Boy and DAZN about 3 weeks ago, we hashed out the deal with them. Again, not signed from their side as well, but everything that was discussed and everything that was agreed, Jaron has actually signed a contract to fight Vergil Ortiz. Done.
When and where?
To be agreed between Golden Boy. It will be January or February, basically.
Vegas type of fight?
Yeah, I'd love it. I mean, look, does really well in Dallas, does really well in Philly. I think it's also a great Vegas fight. The plan is for Vergil to have his fight in October, and then we're in for that fight. So you don't have to worry, or you don't have to wait for that fight. We must have made 5 or 6 offers to fighters, all within the top 10, top 5. And it's like, fighters that are making quite modest money, just massive, massive paydays. Some came back after they knew we'd signed this. Yeah, no, we'll take the fight, to try and tell you that actually they came back and took the fight. But the reality is this is a really important move for Jaron Ennis, because this is the move to 54. This is the only fight he takes, which will be a good fight, by the way. The person he's fighting is a dangerous, dangerous, tough fight. Now, to the casual eye, they might not say, they'll probably say, oh, who's that? Look at the record, look at the hunger of the guy. This isn't a 147.
Give us an idea.
No, there isn't a 147 guy. This isn't a guy with a load of defeats on his record. This is a guy who's come in, been in backyards, consistently won. And I think it's quite a dangerous fight. But of course, I understand the game. Twitter, Instagram.
Give us 3 names who it could be, just so people could. You don't need to tell us.
There's no point, because you'll find out, and it's a really good fight. People will moan, because that's just what people do. But the reality is this is a real solid fight at 154. And I make it clear again, we have signed to fight Vergil Ortiz. Signed. That fight, as long as Vergil Ortiz accepts the fight, that fight is on.
Let's revert back to your comments about offering people fights and 6 offers. Adam Booth came out. I'm sure you've seen the comments. What did you make of what Adam said, and did you reach out to him after that? Or
I never spoke to Adam once. Sean Palmer has been dealing with Adam. We made them an offer, which I thought was there's Adam knows there's a budget for the offer, right? When you put a show together, you know what you're going to pay an opponent. So we made him a very solid offer, I thought. He said it was derisory. He came back, he said he'd want, I don't know, it was close to, he made double that to fight what would have been Liam Smith. But obviously Liam Smith pulled out with a week to go. And then we signed to fight the opponent like 24 hours ago, and he came back last night going, oh, we accept your new offer. But Adam's Adam, and I have my thoughts on that. But where they came back to eventually, if they really were going to accept the fight, wasn't actually that far away from the derisory offer that we made. So
would that have been a better fight than the opponent that you've...
Not style-wise, no. And not in terms of toughness. And one of the problems is Josh got stopped by David Avanesian, who Boots stopped in a one-sided fight. Appreciate slightly different times, like one was a couple of years later, but to the fan, Why are you fighting a guy that Avanesian walked through and you walk through Avanesian and whatever? But I didn't mind the Ennis Josh Kelly fight. I mean, Josh is a great fighter. But the problem is, and I don't blame Adam Booth and Josh Kelly, by the way, because the money that they made to fight Ishmael Davis, which was supposed to be Liam Smith, was more than they were going to get to fight what I think is a top 5 pound for pound fighter. So I don't blame Adam, but we had our number. You know, guys like Rashidi Ellis and all these guys, like who weren't even really top of the list priorities, coming in. You know, they're making like, I don't know, $50,000 a fight. And him and Rashidi got a little beef. You know, I think they got offered $500,000, and they've, you know, oh, we want 800,000 or 900,000. It's like, mate, you are, and then came back at the death and go, no, we'll take the 500. Like when they know we've signed, it's like people don't want to fight Jaron Ennis, and luckily we found someone who's very hungry and not afraid to take chances, because he's not a massive profile name and he's not protecting anything. He's come in to fight, and I need someone that's come in to test Boots at 154 before we just go on the wildest run. And trust me when I say, you know, I love Robert Garcia, and Vergil Ortiz I think seems like a nice guy. Boots will destroy Vergil Ortiz. That is my opinion. And I'm telling you now as well, it will be one of the best fights in boxing. 2 guys in their absolute prime. So my hope is that Vergil Ortiz signs the contract. We have signed a contract in terms of everything that was agreed with Golden Boy. And, you know, we think we can do a great event with Golden Boy. We think with Golden Boy and Oscar, we can produce what I think is one of the best fights in American boxing. So hopefully Vergil signs, and we can get it on.
You've spoke in the past week that you met with Nikisa Badarian from MVP. You spoke about potential 50% chance of Jake Paul, AJ. Where are we at with those talks? And do you believe that happens next? Are you any further on with the AJ talks?
Yeah, look, I think the talks with Nikisa have been extremely productive. Like, we've had our falling outs in the past. The thing that I wanted to really understand is, do they really want to fight AJ? Or is this just a publicity stunt? And I'm 99% sure they want to fight Anthony Joshua. So, obviously there's a lot of meetings taking place out here. But right now, the absolute front runner for AJ is Jake Paul in February, March of next year.
Where is that fight? Is it stadium fight?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just like, look, and again, I'll stress, I think it's a very dangerous call from Jake Paul. I don't think the fight is overly competitive. You know, maybe Jake can do something and prove us all wrong, but people are going to tune in to watch AJ demolish Jake Paul. And it's not a fight that we called for. It's not a fight that we expected. It's not a fight that I ever anticipated happening. But I also understand that it may be commercially one of the biggest in the sport. And that's because of the job Jake's done, an MVP, and that's because of the size of the profile of AJ. And it's because of the danger involved.
You say AJ isn't going to fight then until February or March next year? Where
Only if we do this deal. I mean, there would be no point fighting in December or January when we're fighting Jake Paul in February or March. I mean, if we don't,
where would it land though, that type of fight?
I think it probably lands in the US, or or a stadium fight in the UK. I think the money that would be generated in the US, I think it's probably up there with one of the biggest pay-per-view fights of all time. And don't get me. This isn't me saying this is fight of the century. This is just wild. That's all it is. And I don't necessarily say I don't understand it. Of course I understand this new world that we live in. But it's mental that AJ could be fighting Jake Paul next. But when you look at it and you know that it's one of the biggest pay-per-view fights, but it's probably the biggest pay-per-view fight in the sport right now, you understand why it could happen. And every time I speak to Nikisa, like they think they're going to win. They think they're going to win.
What would you say to Jake Paul if he said, Eddie, I'm going to beat Anthony Joshua?
Good. I hope you come to win. And good luck to you. And by the way, I respect it. Like, do you know how dangerous it is to fight Anthony Joshua? I mean, look, Jake is now, in my opinion, a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Right? So, yeah, you're stepping up to heavyweight. It's not unheard of. But you're fighting one of the best heavyweights of the generation. A guy that has dynamite in both hands and speed that you won't even see. Yeah? But I respect... I almost respect the delusion. Because they honestly believe, they think AJ's punch resistance gone. When we land, it's all like, I mean, but you got to be brave as fuck to get in there with him. You imagine that geezer. Can't you imagine the bell going and walking out to the middle of the ring?
What happens when that bell goes? They go to the middle of the ring. Say it's in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. What happens?
The whole world goes, you know, I said the other day to you, I thought it was to you or someone, it's like, you know, when you tune in to watch David Blaine and he's in the box, is he going to get out in 3 minutes? It's like, it's just like you're just going like this. Oh my God. I don't know if I can watch this. But do you know what I'm so happy about? I'm so happy he thinks he can win. Because you won't get Jake Paul who's going, oh my God, I just got to try and get for a round or two. And, you know, once I get hit on the chin, I'm just not going to get... He thinks he's going to win. He's going into training camp. He's making a ring walk thinking he's going to beat Anthony Joshua. Which is even more dangerous. You'd be better off doing the other one. Just going, oh, what I'll do is I'll go in there and I'll give it a go. But when I get hit, he won't. He will try and win. Which will be even more disastrous for him. And there's a very good chance he won't fight ever again after this. And that, in itself, makes it even more, you know, dangerous, just a spectacle. The whole boxing world. I mean, the amount of messages you get very mixed opinions, right? Half the messages are going, yes, knock this bloke's spark out and get rid of him. And then the others saying, hey, you know, I don't know. What about fighting this guy and what about fighting? And I get both sides. But you got people tuning in to watch AJ evaporate him from the boxing world. You got people tuning in probably who share some delusion who think, yeah, but if he lands and, you know, Jake's improving and that's the Jake Paul fans. Good, we need them. And then you got the others who are just going, what the fuck am I watching here? But cumulatively, millions of people worldwide, millions, tens of millions of people, 100 million watching this fight globally. And it's just, it's bizarre. But I really believe it's going to happen.
Moving on from that, Ben Shalom obviously back on the scene. Did he have a hand to play in the Benn-Eubank negotiations, discussions to get it over the line?
I don't know. I didn't hear from him. They kind of went missing for a long period of time. Obviously, we had September 20th was the date that was agreed. Then Eubank said he wasn't ready. And then, as I understand it, Eubank and Nova have been speaking directly to Seller and Riyadh Season to confirm the new date. Same kind of thing with these guys. You know, it's like we were in for any date, so you didn't really need to check with us. But all of a sudden, boom, announcement. It's like, right, off we go. And November 15th, it is at Spurs.
Will Boxer be on the co-promotion with yourselves? Or?
Yeah, I presume so, if they've got a deal with Eubank. Because they have to be. We've Matchroom held the date with Spurs for quite some time for November 15th, so we're moving forward with them. And yeah, I don't see why Boxer wouldn't be involved unless they're not involved with Eubank anymore. But yeah, I think.
When's the press kind of tour start for that?
I would think, looking at it, what is it? We're about 12 weeks away, so probably in the next couple of weeks. Here now as well, going through undercard plans. Promotional plans for the event.
Are all the weight stipulations the same as before? Is everything the same? Has anything changed?
No, I mean it's in the contract. So, yeah.
Was there any negotiation from you to try and change that?
From me?
From you maybe to push against them trying to change the weight? That's what I'm saying.
No, we've not been asked to change the weight. Just it is what it is. I mean, we signed for 2 fights with the same clauses. So Eubank will make his weight again. Conor will come up. I mean, you know, I know there's always the debate, but I think everybody saw in the fight the size difference. You know, Conor's right up against it, but Conor took a huge part of Junior's soul that night, and Conor had to dig deep. Physically, it was tough, but he's a young man. Eubank's in his mid-30s. You know, it was grueling for him, and I think this time Conor will stop him. I really do, and I think it'll be a massive victory, because I think a lot of people go, great fight last time, but Eubank's just a bigger guy. Like, you know, can Conor win? And when Conor beats him and stops him this time, I think it will be a huge upset to a lot of people, and I really believe he'll do it this time.
We need to be probably quite quick because I know you've a bit to do, so I'll go through a few quick ones. Beterbiev Bivol, was that close to happening again? Beterbiev been quite critical, saying that Bivol stuck, that it was agreed for Russia. What can you tell us? I know you met Bivol.
Bivol's had an injury, which they know about, Riyadh season, and Beterbiev wasn't ready for the date, which is like quite, I mean, we won quite convincingly last time, and actually next time I think we win even more convincingly. But Bivol just wasn't ready for the date. That was all. You know, it's all very well saying, yeah, we had a deal done in Russia. It's like, not quite true, but at the end of the day, if Bivol's not ready to fight, he's not ready to fight. And you know, he has a mandatory with the IBF, which we're dealing with at the moment. I don't know when he's going to step back in the ring. He's had a couple of little minor operations, and he's just
this year. You think?
Yeah, hopefully, but I you know, could well be next year. But you know, I think as well, Dimitri Bivol only really wants big fights. Beterbiev 3, Benavides. The one he'd really like is Canelo. Yeah, maybe even a move to cruiserweight to fight Jai Opetaia. That's a fight, and we discussed that at dinner the other night. That's a fight. But Dimitri Bivol wants legacy. He's was the undisputed world champion. He's been there, he's done it all. Maybe a move to cruiserweight, you know, maybe, but he's not really interested in just defending his belt against somebody. He wants big fights only. And by the way, he'll do them when he's physically ready to fight. That's all.
In terms of other news, a lot of people are kind of saying that there's potential, you know, you're doing this double header, you're doing Newcastle, you're doing Mexico, I think the same night. Potential maybe Dave Allen and Boots land on the same night. These double headers are great for boxing fans, but is there a way of that you're disappointed by that, because it means you've got a tough test, like say for example Dave Allen and Boots from the same day?
We reach a size, Colin, where you just can't, you know, I mean, I think that we live in a strange world where it's like we always look for the negative, you know, and it's like, what's the negative between Eddie doing a sort of next gen style show in Northeast that's sold out with all his top young fighters, but also on the same night they've sold 9,000 in Los Mochis for the homecoming of Sugar Nunes, one of the best fighters in the world. I mean, what a blessing. You know, I mean,
what does it give you the difficult decision to say for example Dave Allen Boots, same that, where do I go, what do I do?
Of course, like, you know, Boots for me is the future of the sport. He's a pound for pound superstar. We're going to sell, I don't know, 10, 12,000 in Philadelphia. It may fall on the same night as Dave Allen, who, by the way, I've just had a report, we're going to sell out Sheffield Arena. And I really want to watch Dave Allen against Makhmudov. But, you know, unfortunately, you've got two different markets here that we operate in. You've got, obviously, venues that you need to deal with. In an ideal world, and I always say this to the team, I want to go to every single show. Please don't double up. But also, you know, when they come back and say, well, Wells Fargo's only available on this date, and DAZN say, yeah, we like the double header. We like to be able to say to subscribers, you've got Alan Makhmudov and you've got Boots on the same night, one after the other, marathon night of boxing. They're not going, oh yeah, but it doesn't suit Eddie. I mean, they want me to promote both shows, but at the same time, they also want to say to subscribers, we've got big nights, and that's a massive night of boxing. So, yeah, so that for me, like, that's a much tougher decision than the September 6th card, because I want to be in Mexico in front of 9,000 people watching Sugar Nunes homecoming, because that is what I fucking live and breathe for, because that's the bollocks. don't get me wrong, the show in Newcastle was great fun, and we've got so much great talent on there. But when I'm in that arena watching Sugar Nunes walk out to the Maharachi with 9,000 in his hometown, mate, that gives me a tingle you just can't buy.
In terms of Matchroom schedule, are we expecting more to be announced soon? You've said the Boots fight's going to be announced. Anything else US-wise?
Yeah, so there'll be 2 US shows that will be announced shortly. One in October, one right at the beginning of November.
Who's the headliners for those?
There's a very interesting heavyweight fight on the November card that we'll come back to. And also a show in December in the US as well. And also another show in the UK in November as well.
Can you give us an idea of the headliners?
No.
Diego Pacheco?
There's 3 or 4 fighters we're looking to headline the December show. The November one's done. Heavyweight fight.
Where in the US that he's going to land?
What's like?
I mean, people want to
East
know.
Coast, the November one.
What about the
West Coast?
And what about the UK show?
So November card. Watch this space.
Update on Galal Yafai and the WBC?
So been speaking to Galal Yafai, WBC. You know, amazingly, Taraji lost to Sandoval. So the WBC, I believe, will now order the mandatory between Sandoval and Galal Yafai. You know, originally they looked at ordering the rematch between Galal and Rodriguez. You know, my relationship with the WBC is like this, right? Maurizio, who I think does an amazing job. I really do. Like, you can't win running these governing bodies. But I don't agree with everything that Maurizio does or says, and vice versa. But we're like that, right? I felt that ordering the rematch for Galal Yafai was just wrong. And there's been numerous conversations, and I believe Galal could be ordered to fight Ricardo Sandoval, which everybody believes that is the right thing to do. And if the WBC do that, then big respect to them, because that is the right thing to do. And, you know, again, like Dalton Smith against Subriel Matias, that needs to be ordered. I believe they're going to, and I respect the WBC for standing by those rules and those decisions, because it's not easy. Because everybody's trying, you know, of course, Sandoval wants to fight somebody else. Of course, Rodriguez is asking for the rematch, and you can't keep everybody happy. So, but we believe the right thing to do is to make Sandoval against Yafai for the world title.
A few quick ones, and then we'll end with the Saudi show. Catterall, Ryan Garcia spoke about. Any truth?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean,
Echo Esserman?
I like the Echo Esserman fight. I mean, I think, you know, with Jack, against the right style, Jack's in brilliant fights. We know that, you know, the Barboza fight was a little bit cat and mouse. It was an okay fight. Benn-Eubank just, you know, his style that he was bringing to that fight was, you know, made it very difficult to look good. But against Echo Esserman, I actually think Catterall Esserman's a great fight. It's one I've discussed with Sam Jones. Obviously, we'll see what happens with conversations with the Saudis, because they've, you know, had a big interest in getting Jack Catterall out on a card. So yeah, Jack will be in a big fight, and that will come. You know, it could even come on the Eubank Ben card. We'll have to see.
Cameron Vaughan, Gavin Gwynn.
Agreed. Just tying everything up with Sam Jones. I said to Gavin Gwynn, I promise you that fight will happen, and I promise you it will happen. And it will happen because Cameron wants to run it back. And he needs to run it back.
Where does that land?
Just like a co-main event, an upcoming show. You know, whether that's going to be probably in the November card that we're doing. Maybe even the Benn-Eubank undercard. You know, you've got Monaco coming up as well. She's looking.
Who's the Monaco headliner?
Again, there's going to be 2 world title fights in Monaco this year. It's going to be a big card, and there's going to be a couple of big UK names as well.
What month's that landing?
December, early December.
Conor Walker update?
He could go on there. He could go on the Benn-Eubank card. Again, another Sam Jones fighter calling me 7 times a day, Sam, saying, please get him a big fight, please. That's what I do. And you will be in a big fight next.
Last one. A time away in Saudi Arabia. We're going to be there. How does that end, Edward?
I'm looking forward to it. I think, you know, couldn't believe Dillian the other day. Just looked completely different. I mean, looked so light and lean. Which I think is a good thing. I think it's a really bad style matchup for Dillian, but Dillian's a proper geezer. I mean, he's not. There's no way he's coming into this fight with a view of, oh, it's just my last payday, whatever. He's coming to win, and he's a tough man. I do think that Moses could make Moses look sensational, but if Dillian can take it past 4, 5, 6, the only thing we don't know about Moses yet is how he takes a shot and what he's like when he goes to the trenches. Everything else, unbelievable. Blistering hand speed, great jab, smart, great boxing IQ, young. But the heavyweight game's just a little bit different. Sometimes you've got to test the will of these fighters. And that's the only way that I see Dillian winning is chinning him or taking him to the trenches. He's not going to outbox him. He's not going to be sharp enough. He's just got to make it horrible in there. And it's a tough ask because he's just been so inactive. But he's a tough man, Dillian. He's a good fighter. So I think it's a great fight.
Belfast sold out?
Belfast, I've got to say, tickets at the moment, I've never seen so much demand for tickets. And this is because of the ecosystem of boxing. Boxing's red hot. Obviously, I know there's smaller venues, but Newcastle, sold out. York Hall, sold out. Belfast, through 15,000 now. I think it's over 16 now. Every floor seat is now sold out. It's just £40 tickets left. My appeal to the people of Belfast is come and experience that fight night on September 13th. It's going to be unbelievable. Let's sell the whole place out, and I really think we can do it. Dave Allen, I cannot believe what has happened with the Dave Allen show. Dave Allen took 1,200 tickets, sold them like that, out of his hand. Every fighter on the undercard, 300, 400, 500, all sold out. The pre-sale yesterday, we put 1,000 tickets on the pre-sale, went in 5 minutes. Now we're on general sale. We've done over 1,500 in the first, I think, when I started this interview, I got a text. That's going to sell out. And I'm so happy for Dave Allen because he's such a brilliant, brutal fight. So, yeah, every show that we're doing at the moment is just selling out. And it's just great times for boxing.
Well, I'd appreciate your time. I know you've got another busy day of meetings, so we'll catch up in Riyadh. Appreciate it, mate.